Welcome, everyone, to our Tuesday afternoon Accelerated Breakthrough Mastermind Gang. We do this every Tuesday, and we do it for you. We want you to show up with questions, with agenda topics that you want to discuss. We want to help you find that profound sense of clarity. When you know what to do, you know how to do it. And by the way, when you understand why you choose to do it, I think you can accomplish anything you want. I believe all goals and expectations are accomplishable. We just need the right plan. And Dan is here to help us do that. Dan Rochon, the author of Real Estate Evolution. He's a rock star, comes from a very similar background as me, that's for sure, and similar companies, things like that. So Dan, why don't you take a moment, tell us your story, bud.
Well, thank you, Sean. I appreciate that. And before I tell you my story, I would love to invite everybody to turn your videos on. And why would I ask you to turn your videos on? Because when you engage in the conversation, you learn more, you gather more, you gain more. And when you learn more, gather more, and gain more, you take more listings, you help more buyers, and you make more money. Who here besides me wants to make more money? Go ahead and raise your hand. All right, fantastic, love it. For those of you with your hands up, with the videos up, I know you want to make more money as well. Just the rest of us can't see you. And that's quite okay. Sean, thank you for inviting me to talk to you guys about today. So I'm gonna, my name again is Dan Rochon. I am a real estate agent. I've been selling homes since 2007, and I've done a lot of really cool things in this industry. But the one that I would say that I am most proud of is the fact that I have had no broke months since 2008, with an average of 10 monthly sales. And so as an agent, that's something that when I look backwards and I say, okay, what are all the cool things that I've done? That would be the one that I am most proud of. And just like what Sean started off today about talking about the real estate, the environment, the circumstance that lives within your head, you guys are so fortunate, first of all, to be a part of this tribe and to be part of Icon Coaching here. You guys are freaking awesome. You're amazing. And you've got some incredible leadership. And when we talk about being between your head, this morning, I was at a school. We're looking to change schools for my daughter, and we're at a reception. And I met with somebody, and he said to me, he says, oh, well, he says, what do you do? I mentioned to him, I help people, to buy and sell, invest in real estate. And he says, well, the market must really suck right now. And I just looked at him. I was just like, I don't know. I haven't noticed. By the way, what are your needs? Right. So it really, truly is. It's what you think. So Sean, is it okay if I just jump right into it?
Oh, let's do it, Dan. Absolutely. Let's focus on meat per minute, strategies and tactics that are actionable, that they can implement and deploy like right now, today, to get more traction in sales.
I'm going to ask everyone to take out a pen, take out a piece of paper, if you could, please. We're going to do a little exercise here. Sean mentioned to you about the knowing how to do real estate, knowing what to do, and knowing why you're doing it. I want to start with why you're selling real estate. And I want to ask everyone a question here. And I want to ask you this from the no BS perspective, from the perspective of the lowest denominator of why do you sell real estate? And when I say the lowest denominator, what I mean by that is I mean the no BS answer. Like, I sell real estate so I don't have to go wait tables. I sell real estate so I don't have to drive an Uber. Or I sell real estate so I can afford to pay for my daughter's private school. Or I sell real estate so I can pay for my mortgage. So I want you to think about that. And I'm going to invite for you to answer that question for yourself right now. From the no BS, the lowest common denominator, or the lowest denominator to you, why do you sell real estate? And go ahead and write your answer down, please. I'll give you just a second to do so. And so as you're writing, I'm going to ask you another question here in just a few moments. I'll give you a second again to answer the question. Why do you do this? Why are you selling real estate right now? We know when you got into real estate sales, it was for freedom and money. Yet, depending on how long you've been in real estate, maybe that answer has changed for you. So now you've written down why you sell real estate from like just a realistic perspective. I'm going to ask you a second question. I want you to look at that answer from question number one, and I want you to ask yourself the question, what is important to you about that? So I asked you a question, why do you sell real estate? And then what is important to you about that? And so now you're going to write down the second answer. Wayne, I love your mustache, man. You got a cool look going on there, man. I wish I could get away with that. Maybe I'll have to shave this little bit here and see if it worked for me. So why do you sell real estate? What's important to you about that? And now I'm going to ask you one more question before we move on in the content today. This is going to be interactive, right? You guys are going to interact today, and this is going to be useful to you, I promise. And so now you answer the question, why do I sell real estate? What's important to me about that? I'm going to ask you one more question. I'm going to ask you to look at that second answer that you wrote down and ask the question one more time, what's important to me about that? And I know it's the same question twice. And you're going to write that down. And then later today for your homework, I'm going to invite for you to continue doing that exercise until you get to an answer that sings to your heart. Until you get to an answer where it's like, oh, damn, that's it right there. That may look something like, for me, I sell real estate so I can afford to send my daughter to her private school, which to me means that I'm a worthy dad. And that, when I got to that point of being a worthy father, of why do I do what I do, meant something to me that sang to my heart. So whatever it is that gets to it, to sings to your heart, that's what you're going to get to. And then what I'm going to invite for you to do is, once you finish that exercise, take all those answers in between where you say, what's important to me about that? What's important to me about that? What's important to me about that? And swipe right. So that you're left with just the answer of why do I sell real estate, and the last answer of what's important to me about that. And then write that down on a little sticky note, and take that sticky note and put it on your keyboard at your desk, or on your keyboard at your computer that you take around with you. And that's your homework that you're going to do. Now, what you just developed is a compass. It's a compass to keep you in action. Now, I know that Sean teaches these activities. I'm going to say it in a different order than what I recall that Sean teaches it, but the activities that make you money. So when you're doing these activities, I'm going to mention to you here in a second, that make you money, then fantastic. When you're going to choose to do something else, then I'm going to invite for you to look at that little sticky note that you have on your keyboard about why you sell real estate, and then make a choice. And whatever choice you make, I'm cool with it. What I don't want you to do is, I don't want you to go through this industry. I don't want you to go through this business absent-mindedly. I want you to just have an awareness. So the 5 things that make you money, by the way, is to generate leads. You can generate leads by 3 different ways. You can do so through networking, prospecting, or marketing. They all cost you something. By the way, networking, well, let me ask you guys a question. What does marketing cost you? Yell it out, chat it in the thing. What does marketing cost you?
Depends on what your budget is. But
marketing costs you money. Marketing costs you money. Prospecting costs you what?
Time.
Time. And networking costs you both. So if you understand that, if you have no money, consider that. What do you think you may want to do if you have no money? You may want to invest time.
And Dan, let me interject here real fast. So many times an agent comes to me and they've got this, finite amount of money. They're saying, well, I'm going to buy some Zillow leads with this money. And I ask the question, what happens if it doesn't pan out for you? How long can you sustain buying those Zillow leads? And if the answer is in at least 6 months, you guys, I say, don't do it. Do not do it.
I'm going to suggest this, if I may, 18 months.
18 months. Okay.
So 18 months of reserves in the bank right now. You say, how much does it cost me to make that advertising budget, and put 18 months of reserves in the bank account now? Then
before
make a marketing decision. Now you can make a marketing decision.
See, because here's the thing. If you can afford to do it for 1 month, what we do in business today doesn't show up tomorrow, no doubt about that. And thanks to the digital marketing revolution, buyer and seller leads can come into your pipeline way too early in the process. They just completed a web form. They're not looking to buy for 18 to 24 months. And yet you've spent your finite amount of money. You generated some leads, no doubt about that. Yet you don't get an instant ROI. Then you're forced to quit. You're forced to stop. And yet if you can sustain doing it 6 to 18 months, I like your suggestion, Dan, 18 months before you pull the trigger, well, then I'd say go for it, because you'll undoubtedly get an ROI there. So if you've got this finite amount of money, buy something that's renewable or reusable. For example, Go out and buy 50 open house directional arrows. No joke. Because you can use those over and over and over again. And once you buy it, it doesn't cost you anything, unless, of course, you forget to pick them up and the city throws them in the dumpster. But, it doesn't cost you.
There's that too.
There's that too. No doubt about that.
So let's go back to what makes you money. So number one is to lead generate. You break lead generation into three things. They all cost you a resource. We talked about if you don't have any money, then you may want to prospect. And when you do market, the reason why you would want to market is because prospecting has a finite amount of an asset, meaning you only have 24 hours in a day. So at some point in your business, you're going to want to add marketing onto that. Yet, when it's appropriate, when you have 18 months or 6 months, 6 to 18 months of a budget in reserves. Then the second thing that makes you money is to convert the leads to meet with you. The third thing that makes you money is to attend those meetings for the purpose to get hired. The fourth thing that makes you money is to negotiate. And the fifth thing that makes you money is to practice your scripts and role play. That's your money-making activities. Now, I know Sean teaches it slightly different than that, but it's basically the same. So whatever Sean says, go with what he says. But those are the 5 things that make you money. So now what we did was he said, why do you sell real estate? What's important to you about that? What's important to you about that? What's important to you about that? And now you've got your compass. You put that little yellow sticky on your keyboard. If you choose to do something outside of those 5 things, then just look at your keyboard, look at that little, why do you sell real estate, and make a choice. So now we want to build on this into what to do. So now that we know why you're doing it, now this is where I'm going to really ask for your participation. You guys are going to answer the next question. So I'm going to take this whiteboard behind me and I'm going to ask you, how can you find business? What are all the ways that you can find business, whether it's prospecting, marketing, networking? What's one way that you can find business? I'm going to start us off here. So you guys just chat it in the box there. You could call for sale by owners. Could you call for sale by owners? Yes. Do you want to call for sale by owners? Hey, I do, but you may not. That's fine. What else can you do to be able to find business?
Expired listings, circle
Expired.
prospecting.
All right. What else can we do?
B2B networking. Come on, guys, help me out.
Open houses,
Good job, Dante.
door knocking.
Work is fear.
Fair.
Yeah, family and friends and their family and friends.
I'm going to
Who
put
do you know?
SOI, COI. Some people call it COI. Some people call it SOI. What else can we do? Great job, guys. Fantastic. What else?
One-to-ones.
Social
One-to-ones.
media.
All right. Social media. So social media can be broken into a few different parts, which I would say including maybe video. You could do Facebook groups. You could do Facebook advertising. You could do awareness, just publishing yourself on social media. So I'm going to put on social media. I'm going to put on videos. I'm going to put on Facebook ads. So those are all like sort of niches within social media. What else can we do to be able to find business? How about neighborhood marketing? Open houses, we got that. Thank you, Betty. How about geographic niching? What about let's see here. We got what about television advertising, radio advertising? Again, not till you're ready, but we're putting it all out here we're putting it all out here. So TV, radio, what else can we do?
Business networking.
Referrals.
Okay, networking. Let's call that BNI. Referrals from who?
Outside agents.
All right, agent referrals. So you go on to Workplace, for example. I gave out a referral to an EXP agent yesterday in a different marketplace on Workplace. What was that?
Newsletter.
What else can we do? Newsletter. All right, fantastic. Newsletter.
Mailers, billboards,
Billboards, love it.
podcasts, cross networking.
Farming with letters.
Okay, letters. Fantastic. You guys are beautiful. You guys have a lot of great things there. What I want to do next is I want to sit there and I want to take a look at some of these things that we put here. And I want to put this aside for a second. Okay, so we talked about why do you do this? Why do you sell real estate? You guys are freaking awesome for shouting out all those answers. So what I want to do next is I want to ask yourself a question. So this is going to be another quick exercise we're going to do. And then we're going to tie all this together here in just a few moments. The next question I want you to ask yourself is if you asked your best friend, your spouse, your significant other, your children, your parents, your brother, your sister, yourself, what is my God-given skill? We're not talking about this. We're not talking about real estate sales. We're talking about in life. What makes me special? What am I really great at doing? Okay, like when I was a kid, 15 years old, was I, a sports player? Sean, was I a football player? Right? Really competitive, I'm sure, right? Very personable, very persuasive, right? What makes you unique? What's your God-given skill? And I want you to consider that and write down every single thing that comes to your mind about what makes you great, about what God granted you in this life. And I want you to you're going to have to do this outside of this presentation because I have a finite amount of time to present to you. And I want you to really think, and I want you to be open to let any thought come into your mind about what makes you special and unique. And what you're going to do next is after you do that exercise, and after you did this exercise, what I'm going to invite for you to do next is to simply pair up what your option is with what is your God-given skill. So for example, if you're somebody who, when you come into a room, you light up that room and you make people feel good, and they know that you're in that room and you're able to communicate with people, and maybe you like, even when you're talking to people, maybe you even touch them on the shoulder and you know that they feel freaking awesome. What's a way, based off of what we just shared, you may want to consider to be able to remember those 5 activities, to be able to lead generate? Maybe
BNI, open houses, no doubt about that.
Yep, maybe BNI, maybe open houses. Fantastic. Now, if you are somebody who you are a little techie, and if you're willing to be able to take action and you're really like on top of the ball, like you are ready to go, and you take action quickly. And if you're willing to invest, a small amount of money, maybe your way would be Facebook advertising. And if you're somebody who likes face-to-face and likes to create relationships, get this, maybe it's for sale by owners. Now, what I just said about for sale by owners isn't the way that most instructors will teach you for sale by owners. My job with the for sale by owners is to go there to create a relationship, not necessarily to go there to take the listing. The listing will come, okay? But first, you want to go there and you want to create a relationship. Whatever it is that is your way, what I want you to do is I want you to, again, identify, and we only put a few of them up here on this board. I want you to identify every single freaking way that you could do business, every single way. And then say, okay, what makes me special? And now have your job description. And let's say that job description was open houses. So now if I'm a new agent in Toledo, Ohio, is anybody here from Toledo, Ohio by a chance? No? Okay, good. So I'm not competing with you if they airdrop me into Toledo. All right. So if you drop me into Toledo, Ohio, one of the ways that I may choose to get business would be open houses. And if I have no other business, guess what? That's my job description. So if that's my job description, how often do you think I would be doing open houses? Because me, I'm doing 4 open houses a weekend until I get business. Because if you don't have business, you have no business doing anything except for getting business.
Well said.
Thank you. And so you have to take into perspective to understand if these are the money-making activities, and we already looked at number 1, that's the first domino. When you hit that domino, everything else starts to fall, okay, because you have nobody to convert until you're lead generating. Now you're set up for success. Now here's the caveat. Here's a couple rules of the game that I recommend for you. Don't select more than 3. In fact, I would even do 1, 2, and 3 one at a time. So if I did open houses number 1, networking number 2, maybe I might Open houses start now. Well, I figure out how to either get into a BNI group or start a BNI group. It's one of the things I did 15 years ago. 15 years ago, every Wednesday morning, I still wake up and go to my BNI group. Okay. That's one of the things I did when I started selling homes. So whatever it is, you want to keep that within 1 to 3. And just like what Sean was coaching you, is that you want to understand that you have a finite amount of resources, at least when it comes to time. So you will add marketing after you run out of time, assuming that you have a bounce. And when I say 18 months, I say 18 months because I never want to turn it off. If I want to do a billboard, I'm going to say, how much does that billboard cost me? If it's $100 a month, I'm going to have 1,800 in the bank account. And as soon as I do a closing that I can associate to that billboard, I'm going to take 10% of my gross commission. I'm going to put that 10% back into that marketing bank account, and I'm going to reassess my 18 months moving forward. And I would perhaps then start to scale and increase my marketing budget. You follow those rules of the game, you'll never run out of money and you'll always be able to grow. This is the key for you to have no broke months. Understanding why you're doing what you're doing, then understanding what your God-given skill is, then understanding what all the ways that you could do business and matching that with your God-given skill. And when you get off of track of doing your, I call it CPI time, consistent predictable income time, when you get knocked off of course of doing your CPI time, then you take a look at that yellow little sticky note and you make a choice. What are your questions today? What are your ahas?
Yeah,
I'd
feel
love
free
to
to
hear
type them
some
in the chat,
interaction.
guys, or you can unmute yourself, ask your question live. But chat or live questions is perfect. So Dan, what you did is just, you kind of broke it down in such a way that I think everybody could get their arms around that. What you're giving us is strategy to stay on task, because the bottom line is anybody can time block. I mean, that's easy. All you have to do is know how to use your calendar or get out a piece of graph paper and build out your schedule, right? Anybody can complete that, yet sticking to it, that's something entirely different. And in absence of strategy, we fall victim to circumstance. And that's what you just given everybody, Dan, is strategy to stay on track, focused on what you choose to do, the things you can control, and the outcomes are just right around the corner. Way to go, Dan. I appreciate that. Other questions? Come on, talk to me, guys.
By the way, before the next question, when you time block, what my recommendation to you is be real with your time blocking. I'd rather hear you say I'm going to do an hour and a half a day than say I'm going to do 4 hours and not do it. Now, that being said, of course, again, if you have no business, you have no business doing anything but lead generation. So if you have no business, you may want to time block much more than 1 hour and a half. Today in my sales business, I lead generate 1 hour a day. I still do it today. Once upon a time, it was 12 hours a day. That was on day 2.
Yep. It's whatever it takes, right?
Whatever it takes. Whatever it takes.
Guys,
What ahas do you guys have from today? I love you guys. You guys are freaking awesome.
All right. Well, I'll remind you guys, how you participate during this call is how you're going to participate in everything in life. Participate here at a high level. You're going to participate with lead generation, lead conversion at a very high level. So unmute yourself, ask your questions, give us your comments.
Good,
Now's your
Sandra.
chance. Now's your chance.
So I just want to say that great teaching. I just started a weight loss program, and all of these things that Sean's been teaching me, everything that I've been hearing, everything that you're saying, you got to find those big rocks that you need to put in your jar first. You know, I'm sure you've all heard of that jar with pebbles and all of that. So you've given some really good nuggets to be able to get in and fill the big rocks in your jar first, so you don't fill up with sand first. But
I love that, Sandra. Yep. And the big rocks in the world for me, it's going to be spirituality. It's going to be physicalness.
Yes.
It's going to be health. It's going to be relationship, and all that's all before business, by the way. I'm giving you the big rocks in the job, in the business, but understand your business is there to support everything else. But guess what? If you don't take care of the big rocks in your business, you're going to likely struggle elsewhere, unfortunately.
And the one thing that I've learned with this health and wellness, and it kind of goes so much with the real estate, is the habits. And Sean, I was just reading this in this health and wellness book, and it was talking about the habits, 66 days to make a habit. And I'm like, oh my goodness, it's like all of these things are just coming in and all confirmation. And, you know, we get so busy in the world, and we just have to stay focused. So I really appreciate that everything you're sharing. It was great.
Thank you. If I can invite you, if you guys are interested, I'm doing a free event next week, and you can register at www.5daylistingchallenge.com. That's the number 5daylistingchallenge.com. And I'll show you the exact steps that I've taken to take 79 listings in the last 12 months. Like I said, I'm an active agent today. I also coach agents, and I would love to be able to show you step by step how you could take business, how you could take listings in today's market.
All right. Type that in the chat for me, would you?
Leslie just did.
Thank you, Leslie.
Thank you,
Perfect.
Leslie.
Thank
Good
you.
job.
Thank you. Much appreciated for your time. Thank you.
All right, guys, I'm at the bottom of the hour. I want to be respectful of your time. So we do this every single Tuesday. Dan, my hat's off to you, brother. Thank you so much for coming on our show and just adding value, just pouring it on, man. I loved it. Way to go. Until we talk again next week, you guys be on purpose, be productive. And as always, be powerful. I'll see you then. Bye-bye.